Yeah! Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. But, well, we're back again. You guys really seem to like the first episode, so I thought I might as well, go on to recording the second one. Now, I wanted to follow the pattern from the first episode where we were drawing Sans. So now we're going to draw his baby brother, Papyrus. I shouldn't say baby, he's a lot taller than Sans. But other than Sans is a lot easier to draw than Papyrus, but Papyrus is a little bit more on the difficult side, since he has a lot more features than Sans. Sans just has a jacket and shorts. But Papyrus, on the other hand, has a scarf, a battle body. You can basically see his skeleton. So that's why, for today's episode, I have, surprise, surprise, a sketch. Now, this sketch I was doing earlier, like this week, and I was thinking in my head, maybe I should use this in a video. So I am. I am going to use this. Right now. So, by the end of this video, all of you should be able to draw Papyrus. Hopefully. Alright, let's get right to it. So, as you can see here, this is Papyrus's face. It's more circular in its shape. Now, for example, Sans's face, it's also circular. Circular. But it also has an oval shape at the bottom, whereas Papyrus's face is much more longer. Now, the important thing to remember when drawing his face is not to make it too long, or else it just looks weird. Make it more, as long as a normal human face. That's basically your main references you should be using for Papyrus's face. Because Papyrus is built as a normal skeleton, whereas Sans is just... I don't know how to explain Sans. He's more of a chubbier skeleton. But Papyrus is built more around the normal human body. So you should probably take a normal human face as a reference when drawing Papyrus. Now, these little things on the side of his face, I don't know what they are, they're like... I'm gonna say they're like cheekbones, because I actually have no idea what they are. Because when I looked at the sprite, there was just these little things sticking out. So I'm gonna refer to them as cheekbones. Don't quote me on that, I'm probably wrong. That doesn't matter. For this sake, they're cheekbones. So, when drawing Papyrus, always remember to add these two little things on the side of his face. And also remember to add a little curve on the side of his skull, because his head is not just one giant round circle. That would look very weird. It curves over a little bit into like a little arc over here, where the left side of his face with the little cheekbone starts. It would also be on the right side as well, but you can't really see that. Another thing to know is his eyes, well, eye sockets. Sans's eyes, eye sockets, I need to stop confusing those. As I said before in my last video, aren't really circular. They start off as circular, but they arc later. Now, Papyrus's eyes are more of an oval shape, and they're definitely more circular than Sans's shape, so they should be easier to draw. But now, I added these little bracket kind of lines underneath and above his eyes to make it look like they're more normal, eye sockets, eye socket, whatever. When I say eyes, and I mean eye sockets, you know what I'm talking about. But I also added these like little lines that kind of look like they're eyebrows, but they're not, because they're skeletons, they don't have eyebrows, that's not how it works. But I added them to make it seem like Papyrus has more of an expression on his face, instead of being just a bland skeleton looking into the distance. Because then he would be looking into the void, and that would be very creepy, and I do not want to draw that, thank you. So, that's the main features of his face. But moving on to the most important part, his mouth. Now, when people are drawing Papyrus, this is the hardest part they need to draw, because they don't know whether to either connect it to the little cheekbones or not. Personally, I don't like to connect it to the cheekbones because it just looks weird and I don't like drawing it like that. So I just completely disconnect it from these little cheekbones and I just draw it in the middle of the face. I give it more of a arc shape as well, arcing at these little corners over here. So it's more, I mean, not more natural, but it makes more sense when you're looking at a normal skeleton, because they have something that comes down like this with their little teeth there. So that's what I was aiming to do. And also, if you look at Papyrus's sprite, he has 4 teeth, 4 big ones like that. So I add these little curves because most people would just, you know, draw them as lines and say, yeah, those are teeth. No, they're not. Those are not teeth. I add a little curve to the side. Well, not a curve, more of a slant to the side of these little lines that are on his teeth to make it look more 3D and look like he's facing away. And that gives a better effect on the drawing overall. Because if they're just straight lines, it's gonna look weird. And you don't want it to look weird. Because you want to be a good artist. I believe in you. You can do it. There's some motivation from gravity. Yay. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the body. To me, the body seems to be very challenging since there's a lot going on in there. But with practice, it should be very easy to draw. So, let's get on to that. Alright, so I've got his body done. Now, like I said before, there's a lot of detail in there, so it's kind of hard to draw at first, but after a while you do get used to it, and it gets a lot easier. Now, the main thing to worry about is the shape of his battle body. Now, most people will draw it like an oval, like that. No, it's not an oval. Papyrus is not an egg. It's not an oval. Now, it doesn't really have a specific shape, but it's more rigid than just a circular shape. As you can see, there's a lot of arcs going around. It's like a chest plate on a piece of armor. You could just get a reference from that, like any kind of knight's armor, and that's basically what Papyrus is wearing. Now, for example, differently, the shoulder pads are circular. Like, not the same as his main chest plate. They are circular, so you can basically just draw them as a circle. That's a lot easier to do. But moving on from, you know, his battle body specifically, the scarf. Now, the scarf, you should have a lot of creases on there, because, you know, it's a scarf, it's going to be, you know, going around in different places. Now, I know originally Papyrus isn't wearing a scarf in the game, he's wearing a cape. But I just like to imagine that he is wearing a scarf, because it's a lot easier to draw, and it looks a lot nicer. But, like when I was drawing Sans before, I added a lot of creases onto his jacket and his hoodie, so I did the same with the scarf as well, because it makes it look a lot more realistic than just, you know, a simple, oh, there we go, it's a little thing there, that's a scarf. No, that is not a scarf, that's a scarf. But I'm I'm thinking about if I should add a little, tail on the end. I'm not sure. Since it's originally supposed to be a cape, it didn't really go down that long. It just went up to here. Like, up to his arm right here. So, I'm not sure. But I'll decide that when I'm further drawing it. Now, onto his bones. Now, this is probably the hardest thing for people to draw. Since if you don't have experience drawing bones, then you have no idea what you're doing. You're just gonna be like, oh yeah, the bone looks like this, it connects there, boom, boom. No, okay, that's not how it works. So what I did mainly was, I added one long bone, from his shoulder, going downwards, connecting to a little joint over here, and then splitting into two bones, going over to his hands. And I did the same thing on the other side. Now this, for me, looks very good. Not bragging or anything, but I'm very proud of how I drew his arms, since I'm not specifically good at drawing those. But I've had a lot of experience drawing Papyrus in the past. For example, when I was doing Merg's thumbnails, I was drawing a lot of Papyruses, and that really helped me draw Papyrus better in a way, because I was doing it a lot more often, so I knew how to draw it, whatever. I can't speak, I need to learn English. But yeah, moving on from the bones, probably the only obstacle that you're gonna face, we have the hands. Now I know a lot of people have difficulty drawing hands because they don't know how to. I'm not gonna make the same gag that I did with the bone because that's getting old, so I'm just gonna say this. So, the main thing is that Papyrus has 5 fingers, as you can see in the game. Not 4, not 3, 5, like a normal human. Like I said before, Papyrus is built like a normal human skeleton, so he's gonna have the same characteristics. Now, he's wearing gloves in the game, so, for example, as you can see, with the little cuff around, that makes it more obvious that he's wearing gloves. It also appears in the game. But what I like to do is add creases into this also. Since they're gloves, they're gonna have creases. Again, it makes it look more realistic, a lot nicer, and again, it stands out more. Now, also, I like to add creases where the fingers went in to the glove. Because, I keep repeating myself, but I want to make sure that everyone understands that it just looks a lot nicer. Because if you just put fingers that don't have creases at all, it looks a little weird. I mean, I'm not stopping you, you can do that, that's perfectly fine, but it just looks a bit, unnatural. Same over here on this hand. I should probably make the knuckles a little bit bigger, like it was on the other hand, but like I said, I'll get to that later. But for now, we're gonna go on down to the pelvis, aka, the lower part of the body. So, let's do that. Alright, so the lower part of the body is done. Now, to go through it, it's gonna be a lot harder to explain than before, like the chest plate, since I don't really have a reference for these kind of... They're not really pants, they're more like an upside down helmet, but I'll try my best. Okay, so, as you can see, his pants are more of a bowl shape, but with little holes for his bones to go through. Like, I originally started drawing them with the bones on top of the pants, but then it occurred to me, why would the bones be on top of the pants if his bones are inside of them? They wouldn't be coming out, unless the holes are really small, and he disconnects his legs, and then he puts them on after he's put their pants on. That would be very weird. I don't want to imagine that, so I'm not going to. We'll move on past that. But yeah, and he has this little, it's not a belt, it's more just a little topper. Like a little line of yellow above his turquoise pants. That I really shouldn't be calling them pants, because they just look like weird hot pants. And it doesn't look like he's wearing them for, like, fun. It looks like he's trying to make a statement. Are you okay, Papyrus? Do you need help? Okay. Anyways, moving past that, let's get on to the spine. Now, as you can see, it starts up here, pretty small, but the further it goes down, the thicker it gets. Don't take that. Don't quote me on that, please. Okay. Yes, so it gets bigger the further it goes down. And as you can see, here is the pelvis. Yes, that's a pelvis. Congratulations, guys. We're doing biology. I really hope that this is biology and I don't sound like an idiot. But, yeah. The spine should be easy to draw. You're basically just drawing a little segment, then putting a joint, and just adding some little spikes on there. Trust me. I originally started drawing these spines without the little pointy things on the edge. I don't know what they're called, so I'm just going to call them spikes. Yeah, I'm very original. Spikes. But, yeah, that's mainly all you have to do for the spine. And the pelvis just looks like... It looks like a... It's not a croissant. It's a pretzel. I was going to say croissant, and I was going to look like an idiot, but I saved myself. And I pat myself on the back for doing that. So, yeah, it basically just looks like a pretzel. And that should be easy to draw, if you know how to draw a pretzel. And then moving on to the legs, they're just bones. They're literally just two long bones going down. And that's it. And I won't be able to get onto drawing the rest of his legs. I mean, it would make sense what they're going to look like. They're going to have like a little joint there. They're going to go down further. And he's going to have his boots. His boots shouldn't be too hard to draw because they're literally just boots. You can look at them. You'd be like, oh yeah, I know how to draw boots. And then you draw boots. That should be easy. I hope so. I really do. Please don't be angry at me in the comments because you don't know how to draw boots. Boots. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Boots, doesn't matter, okay. But also before, I forgot to add this little bone that Papyrus was balancing on his finger. I don't know why I wanted him doing that, but it was just something funny that I was like, oh, yeah, Papyrus would do that, so that's what I did. And also, I didn't go over the little symbols on his battle body. I don't know exactly what these symbols are, but I know they're on his battle body, that's why I decided to add them. Now, they go in a specific order, so it starts with, the big upside down triangle on top, and it goes like a long line, then a short one, then a long one underneath, and that's it. Yeah, that's how you draw the symbols. It shouldn't be that hard, because if that's the hardest part of the drawing, then I would be very concerned about that. But anyways, the sketch is done, as you can see. So now it's time to move on to the fun part, the coloring. And you all know that I'm going to need a sprite reference to do coloring, or else, it's just going to look like an absolute mess. So, last time I wasn't able to do the snap on the first go, so let's see if I can do it. Well, God, that always gets me. Okay, yeah, there it is. There's Papyrus, and there is his sprite. Now, comparison, let's see how good it looks. I think I did pretty decently, if I do say so myself, and I say so. Alright, so now you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to sample the colors, and I'm going to add them onto a layer underneath, and yeah, let's get on to the coloring. And I'll be right back to explain what we're going to do next, which is shading. Not the funnest part, but you need it to make the drawing look good. Alright, let's do that. Okay, well, that was fairly simple. As you saw, I didn't really use the original color of his scarf and the rest of his body. You know, like the gloves and the boots as well, but I'm not including them. As you can see, the difference. I wanted to desaturate them a little bit more because it looked a lot nicer. And the other color was too bright. Now, I like to mainly use the original colors of the sprite, but when the sprite color is too bright, I desaturate them a little bit because it looks a lot nicer. So remember that if a color is too bright on something or on a reference, just desaturate it and maybe make it a little bit brighter or darker. You know, you can add or take away brightness. I mean, it's fine to, you know, differ from the original color as well. You don't exactly need to use the original color from the sprite. But that's what I like to do mainly, because I like to stay original. But anyways, we've got the color done, you know, the main things. So we're gonna move on to shading. Now, that shading is very important because it just makes the color as well as the drawing stand out a lot more, because you can see the depth that goes into the drawing as well. For example, I would add a shade over here. You know, since it's overhanging, it's an arc, it's gonna cast a shade over there. And it also, very important, it depends where the light is coming from. So example, if the light was coming from here, you know, the light would be here, then the shade would be on this side. Because there's no light on this side, the light is coming from here. So wherever the light is coming, the shade is going to be on the opposite angle. For example, you know, if you change it around and the light's coming on this way, shade would be that way. just a quick little lesson, because I don't know if that's obvious or not, but I just wanted to tell you in case you didn't know. So my light source is going to be coming from over here, just to make that sure. So the shade is going to be on this side. Alright? You all get that? I mean, you can choose whichever side you want the shade to be. It doesn't matter. It's fine. That's perfectly fine. But for my drawing, it's going to be this side. And the light's going to be here. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to be also using block shading like I did before. I already explained what block shading was in that video. So if you want to know what it is, you can just go back and watch that video. You can pause this one and then come back so you know what block shading is, or else you're going to be very confused. So, let's get into it. Okay, alright, there we go. There we have the sketch, the color, and the shading. I missed my fingers. The 3 times I did that, I missed my fingers. It doesn't matter. So, it's finally done. now, like last time, I'm not going to add the background because that's going to take too much time. And all you need to see is the main drawing. So, hopefully that did help you learn how to draw Papyrus, and you weren't just here listening to me talking randomly about different things, and you're like, what is he talking about? I have no idea how to draw this Papyrus. Who is this Papyrus? I have no idea who this character is. But if you do know, hopefully it did help you in some sort of way. And if you ever do draw Papyrus by using my guide, please do send me the pictures of like the final product or whatever you do, because I just really want to see how this has helped you, draw him, because he is a pretty hard character to draw and not many people could do so. So yeah, if it didn't help you, then I'm not sure what to do. But yeah, anyways, that's done, it's over. Hopefully that at least, if it didn't help, it at least, entertained you for however long this video is. But yeah, if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please do like the video, because that definitely does help me. And if you are new here, then do consider subscribing if you like this stuff, because that would definitely help out my channel and help me grow more. So then I can easily make more of these videos for you guys, because I really do love making them. And it's just wonderful for me to make them for you guys, because I know you like them, I like making them. It's, a back and forth thing. So, like I said, if you like it, please do like and subscribe, because that definitely helps me out. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I don't really have anything else to say, because I'm just gonna be rambling on about random things, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me do that. So, that's the end of that. You've learned how to draw Papyrus, hopefully. So yeah, until the next one of these videos, or Speedpaint, or whatever comes next, I'll see you then. Adios, arrivederci, goodbye, ciao, whatever other way of saying bye in different languages. See ya.